Hey, good morning, everyone. Dennis Kaye here with Belize Islands Real Estate. Today is Sunday, April 11th. And as I mentioned right now, my bandwidth is short and narrow. I'm in the middle of a 3-day business conference, so we're really tight today. And then I'm going to be spending Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday sort of playing catch up. But I had this email come in today, so I'm just taking a few minutes to answer the most urgent emails that have come in. Those who are looking to buy, I've already got those out of the way. And so I saw this email come in from a real estate broker in Montana, and he's asking 8 questions. And I thought, you know what? Let me just take a few minutes and answer this email via this means, because I think the questions that this real estate broker is asking are questions that many of you would like to know the answers to as well. And so let's just kind of go through them. I'm not going to give his name because of privacy issues, of course, but let's just kind of go through it together. He says he's a real estate broker, so he knows the value of asking the right questions. I really appreciate working with other brokers. He says, my wife and I are considering an investment in Belize real estate. Our goal is to use the property as an Airbnb and also stay in the property a couple of weeks per year. We have a family of 4, a couple of questions. All right, so right there, he tells me their goal. They wanted to operate it as an Airbnb, and also for a couple weeks a year, they want to stay in it as a family. Now, what I don't know yet is if in the future this would become more of a family retreat that is used for several months, or maybe even a relocation at some point in the future, maybe when the family retires. Don't know that yet, but it's important that I find out. But first of all, let's kind of go through his questions. So number one, where can I get the best bang for the buck and still be on the beach and in a safe, secure area? All right, so best bang for your buck on beachfront. Beachfront is the most coveted property on Ambergris Caye, without a doubt, hands down. You can still find some good deals, but in established areas that have road access and access to things like electricity and cable and internet, you're going to be paying obviously market value or even a bit above market value because there simply isn't a lot of beachfront left. But what I would recommend is that this broker look on South Ambergris Caye, all the way down by the Serene property. So there are a couple of beachfront lots down there that are available between 185 and 195 US. That's for a build-ready beachfront lot, has a seawall in place, it's filled, it's ready to go. I like that area. It's safe, secure, right on the Caribbean Sea. But there are also some other properties that for right now are boat access only. For example, the Laguna Estates has some great properties over there for between the 150 and 185 range. Those are really good as well. It just depends on the next question. Where can I get the highest rate of return as an Airbnb, and what are the typical costs to have someone manage the property? All right, so first of all, let's focus. He's looking for the highest rate of return. All right, so that can mean one of 2 things. Number one, really high occupancy rates, all right, at maybe competitive prices. So if he's going to go for, let's say, 75, 80, 85% occupancy, then he has to be in a desirable area, something very easy to get to, and he has to keep his pricing very competitive. So if somebody's looking on Airbnb, they're looking through and saying, oh, this is a no-brainer. I can book this immediately. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to, spend some time, hours and hours researching other listings. This is my go-to property. Obviously, it's the best deal. Other people have great reviews on it. Boom. They can get a good return that way. Or he could go for a higher price per night, right? But offer a really, really prime experience. So for example, if he were to build a nice 4-bedroom home on the ocean that is easily accessible for his clients, for his renters, and along with that, he offers some things like maybe a chef that cooks breakfast or lunch every day and just has some other things in there, but he puts his price really high. It doesn't matter if he's only doing 30% occupancy a year. If that price point is just so high, so now you're attracting this sort of clientele that doesn't matter writing a nice big check, well, then you know what? You can look at it one of 2 ways, but the numbers have to work. So what are the typical costs to have someone manage the property? All right, that is a great question. And what do you mean by someone managing the property? For example, a lot of Airbnb hosts, they do their own online communication with the renters. So they're the ones who are getting the leads, accepting emails, negotiating for the week stays, or playing around with the dates, and all that kind of good stuff. If you want to do that, like most Airbnb hosts do, then you're finding your own renters, you're dealing with your own renters as far as on the financial side, and then on the island, you might have someone simply meet and greet, right? Do the meet and greet, and give them the keys, kind of walk through the house, kind of give them the ins and outs, and just do the check-in and check-outs, and then maybe pay for some housekeeping at the end, right? That's one level of service. Another level of service would be to hire a management company. I think a couple of them are like Belize Management, or I think it's Sunrise Property Management Company. There are several others on the island do a really nice job. What you can do for them, or what they can do for you rather, is you simply give them the keys and you say, rent out my place. You've got, 11 months out of this year. You find a buyer, you do the check-in and check-outs, you handle the housekeeping, paying the bills, all that kind of things. Now for that, management companies will often charge between 15 and 40% of the nightly rate, depending on what they're doing for you. All right. So you might say, well, I only want to pay 15%. Well, what service are you getting for the 15%? To me, I'd rather pay 40% of my nightly rate, or even 50% of my nightly rate, if at the end of the day, I get to be completely hands off. I don't have to answer an email from anyone. I simply get my check every quarter. It's worth it for me to open up that bandwidth and time to have a property management company just handle everything. But some people like the fact that they can be involved in their own rental. So you need to decide what level of involvement you want to have. That leads us to question number 3. When purchasing a condo, what is a typical HOA fee and what does that include? All right, so typical HOA fees, homeowners association. What that is those are fees that you pay as a condo owner to your condo association, and those are normally fixed expenses. So you might say, well, whatever they are, whatever those fees are, they're going to pay for actual bills. All right. No one's making a profit off these HOA fees. So for example, you might find a condo and they're charging $500 a month HOA fees. And you're saying to yourself, well, that's ridiculous. I don't want to pay $500 a month. Well, what bills are being paid with that $500 a month? Are they covering security? Are they covering things like exterior lighting, exterior maintenance? Are they covering your insurance, right, for hurricane insurance? What is included? Do they have a common area where there's a pool and tennis courts and things like that? So when it comes to typical HOA fees, there is no such thing as a typical HOA fee. Now, there are some complexes on island where the HOA fees are inherently lower, right? So they're lower for a reason. Number one is they might have the ability, or the, what do you call it? Not the ability. They might have the advantage of having scale. So for example, the condo project might be large enough where they're able to purchase things and pay for things at scale, so they can lower their HOA fees a bit. But also you got to look at what it involves. For example, if I go to a condo complex and they say my HOA fees are only $200 a month, then I have to wonder, okay, what does it cover and what is it not covering? Because I'd rather pay higher HOA fees and know my bills are set, they're covered, right? So these aren't numbers that are made up, right? So, but if you're asking for a typical HOA fee, anywhere between $300 and $500 a month, I think is reasonable on Ambergris Caye. Question number 4: if we buy a parcel of land, what is the typical cost per square foot to build? All right, typical. That's difficult because number one, what materials are you using? Are you going with concrete? Are you going with wood? A mixture of the two? And where on island are you building? For example, are you building somewhere where the delivery of materials is easy or inexpensive? And by easy, we don't mean necessarily having road access. We just meant, how are the materials going to be transported to the actual build site? How are the workers going to be transported to the build site? All those things add up, because material costs are material costs. Labor is labor, right? So then the only other variable is what makes the build site unique. Can a barge come from the mainland with all the building materials, pour it up to your property, unload? Or is it going to have to be unloaded somewhere else and trucked to your property? What are the details? But typical cost per square foot, I'm seeing quotes all over the map, but let's say 150 for wood and 200 for concrete. All right, that's just what I'm going to put out there. If you can budget for that, 150 a square foot for wood, 200 for concrete, then you're well within typical building cost. Number 5, is it better to buy a condo or a single family residence for what we are looking for? I love your opinion. All right, so there's a big difference. Let me kind of go through them with you here. Number 1, condos are the most, I would say, carefree ownership you can get, other than a fractional ownership, if you can find that. A condo ownership is pretty much turnkey. You buy it turnkey, you walk in, it's fully furnished. There's even artwork on the walls. All you got to do is bring your toothbrush. When you leave, you lock the door and you leave knowing that that entire complex is being cared for. The pool is being cleaned, the yard's being cut. Everything is right there for you. All right, so condo is the most easy form of ownership. When it comes to looking at what you're doing, single family residences often will turn a bigger profit when it comes to rentals, because a lot of people, especially if you're operating Airbnbs, people that are attracted to Airbnbs oftentimes are doing so because they don't want a hotel room. They don't want necessarily to be in a tourist complex. They want the feel of being in their own home. They can go and make their coffee in the morning. They can watch their TV at night in the living room, and it makes them feel like a local. So for what you're looking at doing, if you can write the check, I would say somewhere on the water. It can be on the ocean, it could be on the backside, maybe Secret Beach, or a great project that you might look at is the Mahogany Bay Village project. These lots are all on canals. So you have access to the Secret Beach area, to the west side, to the ocean. This is a gated community with architectural controls in place. You can buy a lot for 150 US. You can have a beautiful 3 or 4 bedroom home built, and this will make a great area for an Airbnb. So that's just my opinion on that. It's not that it's one is better than the other. For example, Mahogany Bay Village, that would give you sort of like the best in both worlds. So rather than have a standalone single family home by itself on the ocean, you can have a standalone single family home in a residential neighborhood that's part of a master plan community. So it gives you the benefits of a condo, but it also gives you the upside of owning a single family home. All right, so that's my opinion on that. Number 6, we would be looking for at a cash purchase if the price is $250 or less, but seller financing if it would be more for cash flow. We may bring in another family member, which would increase the budget to around $500. All right, so here's we get into the nitty gritty. All right, so you have $250 to work with. What can you do with $250? Well, you can do a lot with $250. All right, you're not going to be able to get on the water for $250 with a completed home. But as an example, all right, so if you go with let's say a second or a third row property. So for example, go down south. I have a property listed down there right now for $75,000. It's a third row lot right in the main road. So third row lot, you build up, you're going to have incredible views. All right, so third row lot, 75 grand. So 250 minus 75 brings us down to 175. With 175,000, build yourself a home, a nice 3-bedroom home, elevate it, and Airbnb that thing. It'll turn a really nice profit. All right. That's one option. Or if you have a little bit more money to work with, I have a lot right now in the Flying Fisherman subdivision. It's a second row lot. Again, second row, not on the beach, second row, build up a couple stories. It's 95,000. You might have to go a little bit above your budget, maybe put a little bit more into it, make it really nice. That's another option. If you want to get on the water, then bringing in the other family member, increasing the budget to 500 would be fantastic. Why? Let's say you go down south Ambergris Caye, and you buy one of those beachfront lots for 185. All right, and I have to check and see if it's still available, plus your closing costs and stamp tax. So you got 200 into the lot, and that leaves you 300 to build a home. All right, build a nice 4-bedroom single family home, have a pool out front, make it just so appealing to people that want an Airbnb. That would be fantastic. And when you're building it, remember, design it with the Airbnb audience in mind. How do families like to vacation? When they come down and rent a 4-bedroom home, What private space do they want? What public areas do they want to see? How do they want to live? How do they want to interact with each other during the daytime? But also, how do they want their privacy at night? So sort of look at that and design that into the house. Put some kayaks up front so they can kayak out in the ocean, all that kind of good stuff. That would be an excellent way to maximize your return. Number 7, is everything built to hurricane standards, or is that something to watch out for? All right, so most builders on island, yes, are going to build with hurricanes in mind. Now, we don't have to worry about storm surge so much because we have the barrier reef protecting us. So we don't get big wave action or storm surge on the shores. So that means we just have to build to withstand the winds. Now, concrete, obviously, concrete is built like a tank. It is solid. I mean, there's some places on the island, for example, the 3-bedroom villa that I have for sale at Mar Laguna, that has solid concrete pilings, floors, exterior walls, interior walls are concrete, poured concrete cap. That thing ain't going anywhere. All right. But take into consideration all the homes and the hotel that is being built at Mahogany Bay Village. So the entire 200 plus room Hilton Curio Collection Hotel was built out of wood. And their main great house, their pool house, all that is 100% built out of wood, but doing so with high wind possibilities in mind. So there's things you can do, even building out of wood, that can give you a solid structure, even in a major storm. Sorry about that. Let me just grab a little sip of water before I answer question number 8. Question number 8. Is there anything else to consider that I'm not thinking about in regards to investment in Belize real estate? I mean, there's all kinds of things, but number 1 is make sure you're getting full ownership. All right. So you want to make sure that your title's free and clear. Go through a licensed closing company. All right. I recommend Alberto Villanueva at Belize Caye Investments. His team is awesome. They do all my title work. In addition to the purchase price of the land itself, you're going to have closing costs, which are typically 2% of the purchase price, and you're going to have your stamp tax, all right, which is typically 8%. So just keep that in mind. And other than that, yeah, you know what? It says you may have more questions, but these should get me started. Well, fantastic. I appreciate the opportunity to reply to your questions today. And I like emails like this. This is good stuff right here. I'd rather have an email like this than have an email that says, Dennis, I'm interested in land. Send me some listings. And I was like, what am I going to do with that? Right? Send me some listings. You can see all my listings on my YouTube channel. What I need to know is exactly how you plan to use the property. What is your budget? Do you need financing? Are you able to pay cash for something? Or I just send me an email and say, Dennis, I want to invest in Belize. I have no idea what I want to do. I have no idea how to get started, but here is what I'm thinking. I have this much cash set aside. I can afford this much monthly payments. What do you recommend for X? What do you recommend for this, for that? So this is a fantastic email. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm going to upload this to my YouTube channel right now. Like I said, I am in the middle of a 3-day business conference. It's going really, really cool. And the things that I'm able to put in place now with my team moving forward over the next 2 or 3 months, I think it's going to be really helpful for my current and future client base, database. And I'm just so excited to work with all you guys. So I appreciate it. You guys take care. Have a great Sunday, and we'll talk to you soon. Oh, one more thing. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to jump on our Zoom call with me, one-on-one Zoom call, I'm taking what do you call it? Appointments. Where am I taking appointments? I'm taking appointments starting on the 21st of April. All right, 21st of April. So hit the link below, buy me a coffee or 2 or 3. Steph and I appreciate your support. And let's jump on a Zoom call and see how we can help. Take care. Talk to you soon.